Hello, grade 9, Mr. Knapman here, and I'm just going to walk you through how to tackle this inquiry project on conflict. Now, when you first come onto this outline page here, you will see each of the steps. There are 7 steps here outlined for you at the top. So the very first thing you can do is read through those 7 steps and just maybe sketch out a little plan as to how you're going to tackle this. Now, the inquiry project is a big project. The outline is very big and it has a lot of steps. Okay, this isn't the kind of project where I tell you what to answer and you go follow a few steps. You are going to develop the question that you're going to seek an answer for. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this quickly. You are going to talk to your teacher quite a bit during this project and talk to them with regards to, asking questions about your presentation, what that could look like, if you have any questions, etc. So you're going to use the planning outline below, and I am going to walk you through that really quickly. You're going to double check the Our Purpose slide to grasp an overview of the assignment and to focus your thinking. You're going to review this instructional video to bring it all together. Read and explore the student outlining example, which comes after the video. So there's a whole outline that's been filled in on paper that I've popped onto this page for you to see. Now, that does not mean that you should copy that student, but you can look at how that student tackled some specific questions and explore that student's thinking process to question your own. Participate in the idea discussion on the next page. So just like our other writing tasks, there are some things to click through here. I will show you. Just before you present, you will submit your planning outline and interview through Google Classroom to be assessed. The rubrics can be found on this page for your outline and interview and for your presentation. So there are 2 portions of this project that are going to be marked. The first one is your completed outline, your interview, all of the paperwork, research that went into your inquiry project. And the second mark is going to be for your presentation. So you're going to put all your findings together into a presentation, but these are all outlined for you as long as you follow the steps. The big ideas, this is what inform this entire project. So your inquiry question, the question that will guide your project, will be formed. You're going to form your own question based on one of the following big ideas. What is the right thing to do and how do we know? What causes conflict or makes something an issue? How do individuals and groups best deal with and resolve conflicts and address issues? Or what qualities help people deal with conflicts and issues successfully? So in the outline, you're going to take one of those questions, form a dozen new questions, and choose one to guide your project. So step 1 is going to be the planning outline. Use the link below to open and begin to work on your outline. And here I've outlined how kind of the journey through the project is going to look for you. So you're going to start with the big questions, the big ideas. In the document, I call them big questions, but we're going to call them big ideas. Okay, so they are questions, but big questions or big ideas we will start with. You are going to form your inquiry question. The steps to do that are outlined for you in the Google Doc, don't worry. You are then going to, with your inquiry question, try to find 2 resources that you feel answer that question in some way. So let's say my inquiry question I've developed has something, they're all going to have to do with conflict, but to avoid giving you an answer, I will say my inquiry question will instead be, why do some people find love? I am then going to, now that has nothing to do with conflict, that's say off Romeo and Juliet, but yours will have to do with conflict. Now I would then try to find 2 resources, a song, a poem, a short story, a TV episode, a quote, a tweet, something that I felt contained an answer. Somehow. Could be in a metaphor, it could be in a question, it could be, it could be very symbolic, but in that poem lies a possible answer to the question, why do some people find love? I'm going to find 2 resources. Resources are anything we look at in English, right? So stories, paragraphs, a novel, poems, YouTube videos, songs. You're also going to create interview questions and conduct an interview, okay, around your inquiry question. So you're going to have 3 sources there of information, of an answer to your question. You're then going to present your findings to the class and reflect on that process, okay? So before we open up this outline, let's just take a look at our purpose. All right, so our purpose, you are inquiring, using the outline to chart your own course. You are using the language of inquiry, okay? So get this in your head now. Wonder, solutions, decisions, alternatives, direction. This isn't a unit in which you'll say, this is definitely correct because, this is definitely incorrect because. There's lots of wondering and questioning and alternatives and direction taking. All right, and as usual, you're trying your best. Okay, so let's pop into this outline for a minute, and I will show you what you will see here. So this is the outline for you. You are going to personalize it, so pop your own name in there. Conflicts, challenges, issues, and choices, doing the right thing. Inquiry question, replace with your inquiry question once you have formed one. So make sure you're following those guidelines, you know, that you're not just, okay, yeah, I can pop a question in. No, we need to go down and follow the guidelines. This is an actual completion checklist for you that you can click and cross off things as you go. Okay, I would do this because it's going to help you make sure you don't miss anything. The other thing I would do, if you look on the sheet here, familiarize yourself with the rubric before you begin. So if you click that link, you can see exactly how you're going to be marked. And then you can use the link at the top to go back to either the outline for the whole unit or just the outline for this project. All right, but back into the outline, back into the written outline. These are the big ideas, those big questions, okay, that have to do with conflict, and it is a step-by-step process in this outline. So choose one of the big questions from above that speaks to you in some way and write it here. Wherever there's an arrow, there's something you have to do, and whenever there's a chart, you have to fill it in. All right, so you're going to take that big idea, big question, you're going to speculate on why you chose it, you're going to fill in a KW, what you know and what you want to learn from this KWL chart, and after, you're going to let me know what you did learn, your teacher, sorry, what you did learn. Now, we have a big idea. We're going to develop a question from it, okay? So lots of, follow this through, jot your questions down. This chart will help you develop factual prediction, analysis, and evaluative questions based on your big idea. So you're going to take your big idea and let's say, why do people have conflict? So you will look through some of these. When can? Oh, okay. When can conflict arise? There we go. How should I deal with conflict in my life? So you are going to, these are examples, you are going to do that. You are going to go through and create 4 of each type of question, just inspired by your inquiry question, okay, 4 factuals, and those would fall into this here. So who does best deal with conflict, right? By age or whatever. And in the end, you are going to have 4 factual, 4 predict questions, right? So what will conflict look like in the future? Super straightforward to go through and just put these 16, I said a dozen, but you're going to come up with 16 questions. Then you're going to choose one to be your inquiry question. Okay, you're going to write it here. Then it says you've chosen it. Go back and write it on the cover page of the document. So you're going to go back to the front and write it right here where it says replace with inquiry question. Then you'll go back down. So as you see, you're going to work through this outline for quite some time. Okay, it asks you to activate your prior knowledge. What makes this a good question? Stop and go back to the idea discussion on Canvas. So follow the directions on here, grade 9, and you will be successful here. Okay, so it said go back and do 4.6 idea discussion. Well, this is 4.5. So I'm going to leave this for a second. We'll come back and look at this example. Okay, I'm going to leave this, go to the next page because my outline told me I'm ready to do my idea discussion. So I'm going to finish my, what is your inquiry question? What questions do you have for your peers about the process or topic? And in one sentence, how might you present your findings to your class? Okay, so a quick little short 1 sentence about each. That is going to help you. You're going to respond to your peers and discuss ideas. All right, we're going to help each other. Then you're going to come back in here. Okay, good, I've done that. Next, you're going to find and examine 2 resources, songs, poems, stories, tweets, journals, videos, whatever, that attempt to answer your question in some way. What will conflict look like in the future? Okay, well, I can think of a dozen movies off the top of my head that are futuristic and deal with conflict. So I might pull one of those, Oblivion with Tom Cruise. I might pull that in and use that as one of my resources and show a few clips from it in my presentation and talk about how this movie answers the question of what conflict might look like in the future and how I feel about how that conflict is represented in that movie. So you have a research plan. Where are you going to look for resources? How are you going to decide if they're high quality? This is all built to get you thinking along the lines of the Saskatchewan curriculum as far as this project goes. So these are all, having students consider where you're going to do your research and how, consider how you're going to determine if the stuff you find is of high quality. That's all straight out of the curriculum. All right. Again, here, if you look, this will show you where you've worked through, what step you're on, and what you need to do next. Okay, so you're going to brainstorm some ideas before you grab some resources. You're going to evaluate 2 resources. Who created it? How did you find it? How do you know it's good? What's the overall theme or message? And how does it answer your inquiry question? You're going to do that twice. You are then going to create a little interview. So you're going to ask your inquiry question last. Now, again, I'm rushing through this, but if you stop and go, okay, today I'm working on my interview, read the text carefully, and it will tell you what to do, and then you can ask your teacher for help. So here where it says, for example, for the interview, based on the answer to your inquiry question, based on finding the answer to your inquiry question, you will need to create at least 4 interview questions. So you pop your inquiry question there, then you develop 4 open-ended questions, not yes or no, that you will ask the person you're interviewing. So this can be someone in your family, it can be anyone you're close to. With Microsoft Teams these days, it could be someone from a different place. It could be an expert on the topic. Some tips about creating open-ended questions. You're going to create 4 questions, and the final 5th question you ask this person is going to be your inquiry question. What do you think conflict will look like in the future, for example? You're going to carry out your interview and take notes or a recording. Then we have moved on to time to consider your presentation. You need to design a 10-minute presentation, which you are going to make to your class through Microsoft Teams. If you're nervous, that is a good thing. I know a lot of students have come to me in the past, sat me down and said, I can't present to my class because I have anxiety, or I get stage fright, or I have insert list of reasons why we can't present here. Now, I have never in my career had a student actually sit out of presenting. I have always sat down with those students who are reluctant, and I've said, look, when you're uncomfortable, that's when you grow. If we avoid discomfort, you're not going to grow, right? You feel nervous when you're presenting because there's pressure, right? I feel nervous right now recording this video for no one. It's normal. It's completely normal to feel. Every time you rip that Band-Aid off and do the presentation, you grow a little bit and you get a little bit better, and it becomes easier next time. So grade 9, I urge you, before you speak to your teacher and say, I'm nervous about presenting, that's good. We're all nervous about presenting. Try your best, because it's going to feel so good the second you click, I'm done my presentation, and you stop sharing your screen. Okay. And again, this is the most low stakes place to, presenting online. I am right now, instead of speaking to a class of 30 people, I am speaking to a camera. So you can do it. I believe in you. Okay. So you have to create a 10-minute presentation. You're going to consider your audience. You are going to, here are things you have to have in your presentation. You have to state the big idea that led to your inquiry question. Then you state your inquiry question. You have to tell the class a bit about your process. How did you find the resources? Did you learn anything? You're going to share one of your resources. So you can say, I found this movie, which was great, and I also found this poem, and today I'm going to read the poem to you. You'll need to consider time allowance when you choose which to share. You cannot read a 25-minute short story, right? Give an overview of your interview. So again, you can't play the entire interview, but you can say, I interviewed my mushum, or, my auntie, or my brother, or I interviewed the CEO of my dad's company. And it went really well, and here's a little snippet. Here's my dad's boss, or here is my mushum answering my inquiry question, or giving a really good response, or here's a quote from the interview. And then finally, what was the result of your inquiry project? Did you find the answer? Did you find multiple answers? Did you end up with more questions? That's all okay. You don't have to find an answer. You don't have to know the answer to your inquiry question at the end. It's all about the process. We want to know what you explored. Okay, so there, and then you reflect a little bit at the end just about the process, and there's a spot for your teacher to leave comments. Back on the inquiry project page, there is a sample of a student outline. So as you can see, this student went through, did it all on paper. And it will look a tiny bit different because I did change a few things when I converted it into an online format. So take a look through this student's outline. If you come across a section like this, for example, and you're not sure about the question developing it, or if you're doing it right, come look at the student's example before you ask your teacher, because here you can see that they began with what qualities help people deal with conflicts and issues successfully. That's that big idea. And they develop questions like, what are some things people do to deal with conflicts? When do people know to step in to help solve an issue? Where are the most problems solved? So some of these questions that student would go through and go, okay, that is going to be so hard to answer. I don't even know if I understand how that question is worded, but one of these is really going to ring with you, okay? And this student chose, how do these qualities, or how do some qualities help solve problems? They further refined their inquiry question as they went through their 2 resources, and as they completed the interview. Everything is here, grade 9. If you're not sure about any section of this, the interview here are the interview questions the student came up with, and here are the notes they took during the interview. Little reflection piece at the end. Again, it says reflect on the inquiry process with a visual representation. If you don't know what that means, come just look at what this student did. All right. Don't forget, the idea discussion is the next page. You're going to complete and submit your outline and interview, which will be marked on this Compose and Create rubric. And then the very next page will be your presentation rubric. Enjoy grade 9. This is such a fun project. All of my students who have gone through this project have said at the end that they learned that it was hard, but they learned so much more than they did in any other unit or whatever. So enjoy and ask some good questions.